So as we develop self, we have to wonder whether or not we are truly developing, or are we just overlaying on our foundation things that we've picked up along the way. I don't know if that's development or if that is stacking on layers. An onion has many layers. Onions come in all sizes. When you peel them, sometimes they make your eyes burn, depending on the kind of onion you're dealing with. Sometimes they don't smell so great. Some of them don't burn your eyes. Some have a sweet taste to them. Some of them are bitter. But you never know until you start peeling back the layers. And so, as beings, we have to look underneath the layers of what we have laid down. Look at the foundation of what it is we are built upon. And we have to look for the cracks in the foundation. Then we have to fill them. But you can't just fill them with anything. Okay? In construction, you build a house, that house has cracks in it, in the foundation. It will crumble eventually. Maybe not initially, but the more development that goes into that house, the more you put into it, actually, the weaker that structure becomes because of all the pressure put upon it. And eventually it will cede, it will collapse, a storm will come along. You put too much weight on the floor or something, and the crack will widen, and eventually your foundation will rupture. Same thing with us. If we don't tend to our foundation, that's why it's so important as you build a foundation to take your time and do it right, to be honest with yourself, look at what it is you're trying to do, who you are, what you are at that point, and address it from that standpoint. And put the right materials into the mix. And then to lay that mix out appropriately. You've got to put barriers in place to hold your foundation in place while it sets, while it forms. That means your habits. That means your surroundings. That means people, your guides. So you can't just put all this good stuff in the mix and not guard it, not make sure that it stays in the right place. Because then it's either going to spread out too thin, it's going to lump up, and you're going to develop cracks because it doesn't dry completely. And you can't put too much pressure on it as it's curing. Because again, it's not going to set right. So, translation to that is, 1, take your time. Be honest about where you are, what you need, and what you want. And then go after it. Get it, put it in place. But when you put it in place, make sure that you guard how you have everything put in place. Because once you get it there, you don't want it to lose its form. You don't want it to lose its shape. You don't want it to lose its structure. You need it to set right. Which means that everything you did to get it and put it in place, you have to keep doing. And then once it sets, again, look for the cracks. And if you find cracks, don't ignore them. Address them. Find out what you need to fill them with. Fill them appropriately. And allow everything to mend as it should. And then as you move along, make sure that you follow whatever protocols you need to make sure that your building doesn't crumble. Just like building has a code, you should have a code about yourself. Always be compliant. Look for the cracks and fill them properly. Thoughts from the basement.